Okay, welcome to the very first rendition of the Crackstreet Boys podcast show. Where we talk about various subjects that we and the viewers, which will be you guys.
No one's gonna listen to this.
Yo, shut up. We're gonna be talking about week to week. Today we have our hosts, myself, Isaac, Derek Liu,
Hello.
and Nicholas Chow.
First-year students?
First-year students at CMCC, but as a disclaimer, nothing that we say is an opinion or a direct representation of the views. Oh shit. Well, it's not a direct representation of what CMCC's views or their stances on anything, and we will try to keep everything very professional. So today we're missing some of our hosts of the Crackstreet Boys because some of them are traitors, like Nick and Richard, and Dane, and Ryan. You get a pass. But anyways, so we have a couple of topics we want to talk about. Today's theme is going to be about a little bit about year one at CMCC, and we have a couple of topics lined up, and we're going to kind of talk about what our experiences have been. So our first topic is going to be with, which is, I think, pertaining to the interviews which are coming for the class of 2022 soon, or I don't know if that's already happened. But, we want to go around the table and kind of talk about what was our kind of mindset or preparation for the interview at CMCC last year, and the process of acceptance. How did we feel, and perhaps a little bit about first year and our successes here, because we're very successful.
Yeah, we're not that successful, but okay. Oh, the lights just turned off. Okay.
So why don't we start with Nick Chow?
Take it away.
All right, so I thought the interview process was pretty good, even though it was like a rotation. They went from...
Contralateral?
No.
Or ipsilateral.
Keep going. Go on. We're still listening. Okay, I'll start off with the interview process then.
I think we stopped listening at this point.
So if you guys are still there, So last year I was in my final year at the University of Toronto doing a degree in life science, which is is that
No, we don't.
Nope. We had a bit of a interruption. Actually, in our shout out, we didn't actually shame Andrew. So we have another Crackstreet Boy member, Andrew Lee Chan here. But anyways, I just want to continue on about my experience with the interview. I was at my final year in the University of Toronto doing a life science degree, and I was pretty nervous about it all, because I kind of threw all my eggs in one basket. And in hindsight, that wasn't a really good decision. But you got it when your back's up against the wall. You got no options. You gotta do what you gotta do, if you know what I mean. I don't want to get taxed by my Burnaby boys. So I had previous experience in interviews through job applications, obviously, but since this is my first kind of like a graduate school or professional school application and my only one, I wanted to do my best to do a good job. So I was looking up a lot of stuff, stuff about the STAR method or the STAR-L method of interviews. That was pretty helpful. I tried to talk to a couple of chiropractors in the city, and I think one of them was actually even on the interview kind of like council, or however you would call it, past few years back. And this was also just recently that the online interviews have been implemented. So in a way that was good for me, because it takes some nerves off, but at the same time, you lose some of the social cues that you have in a personal interview. So maybe you might not know when you're rambling or something like I am right now. But overall, the interview was pretty fair. I think the whole system could have been a little more streamlined in that I didn't like that I have to scroll down rather than all the information being presented onto me on the screen. And a bit my fault, I actually ended up skipping half a question because I didn't scroll down. And I was very nervous that something bad had happened, but I accepted my fate, and luckily I didn't get sent to the Shadow Realm or nothing like that. And I got in, so I'm here. And if I didn't get in, well, good thing I did, because I didn't really have any other plans. So who knows? I might have pulled a Mark Zuckerberg. I might have done a Steve Jobs and made a new company for my garage. But right now, I'm happily $30,000 in debt. Made some new friends, living the good life here. But like honestly, it's been a great time. That's kind of just my experience. So if Nick Chow is back, had composed himself, he's dying right now. He wants to talk a bit about his interview experience. Nick Chow.
So was the rotation contralateral or ipsilateral?
Yeah.
Have you decided yet?
Okay, well, why don't we go to Derek, talk a little bit about your experience, and you can actually just talk from anywhere because the mic is pretty good.
Okay. Okay, I don't know how well this is gonna flow, but let's see. In preparing for this interview, I guess like everyone else, I was pretty nervous. I shadowed a lot of chiropractors before the interview and then basically asked them if they had any tips or anything, but they couldn't give me much help just because this was like one of the 2 years where it was online because they just recently started the online interview.
Technological advancement things.
If any prospective students are looking to get into CMCC and are worried about the interview, I just want to let you know that I wore a blazer, a dress shirt, and I had my underwear on. So just make sure. Make sure that
under the table.
Make sure you don't stand up. But where was I going with this? So I was pretty nervous. It was.
What
in my
did you do to
house.
prepare?
What did I do?
Did you look up any tips online? Or?
So I looked up the Star L method thing.
That's very helpful.
I was like, okay, cool. I forgot what it stands for now, but
me neither.
But I had to do a lot of like reflection. This was because the interview was basically based on your own past experiences and how you could apply it.
Yeah, that is a big thing. It's not, you don't have to know any information. They're not going to ask you about actually one of the questions I got was like, where do you see chiropractic in like 5 or 10 years, something like that. So maybe you do have to be a little bit aware, but they're not going to ask you like stuff like it's a test. Like, you don't have to know objective things. It's all on your own opinion and character. But sorry,
behavior based.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a lot of reflecting and basically.
Did you do your reflections for CP?
I'll go that on Portfolium.
Yeah, make sure. I love Portfolio will be dedicated to an entire episode. I guarantee.
Yeah, CP will be another topic.
Yeah.
I just did a lot of reflection.
Yo, Nick, get back here. I guess. Was this your only? Was this your only option? Were you planning to go anywhere else, in the States or?
I guess just like Isaac, I put all my eggs in one basket, but I was thinking of NYCC, New York Chiropractic, just because it was so similar in terms of kind of the evidence-based approach and manual therapy. And I've also talked to a couple of chiros from NYCC, and they just seem like very knowledgeable as well. But at the end, I debated on the financials and
true,
realistic
because
stuff. I just live in Toronto.
You're an international student if you're going to the States, I think. CMCC is not cheap. Don't get me wrong. It's not cheap. In fact, if anyone's watching from a wealthier background, shit.
Wait, you gotta talk shit.
Well,
What?
I don't know.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying that the Crackstreet Boys podcast is looking for sponsors, and I don't know what you'd sponsor. Maybe you'd sponsor like an actual table, so you don't have to use this like crusty school desk on like the corner of a random room in our school. But I digress. So I really want to get our friend Nick Chow to give his experience, but he's been laughing for the past however long we've been doing this podcast, and he's still laughing, and he's pacing. As soon as he's composed himself, we'd like to get some insight on how our friend Nick, because he has a unique background. He's a Taekwondo master, basically. Honestly, when I first met him, he told me his origin story. He got jumped outside of a 7-Eleven, and so he learned. He became a 7th degree black belt.
Wait, he actually got jumped?
No, it wasn't a 7-Eleven, but it was more outside of McDonald's.
Yo, you got jumped?
Oh wait, hold on. Before we get that story, we have our other host, Dave Tam, who's going to be here temporarily before he leaves. Today we're just talking about topics about our first year at CMCC and some of the interview process, but we're kind of digressing. Are you? But we'll continue on with Nick's story about how he got taxed real quick by some goons.
Yo, what the?
I think I remember the first thing that Nick ever told me when I met him in August, or like I think what our conversation started was like something about how he got jumped, but
Just keep this a note. Nick Chow is a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo.
I heard he's like 9th degree.
4th degree?
I heard there's like no
I heard he
degree
gives
to
up
like
degree.
actually describe his level.
Man,
has his own degree.
when Nick Chow kicks the air in the gym, the ceiling tiles like shake, and that's why there's so much maintenance. Because you ever seen like One Punch Man or something? That's basically Nick Chow. But
So Nick Chow has left the building right now, and David Tam has just arrived.
okay, so Nick still can't compose himself to give an answer. So we're gonna talk to Dave Tam, our good friend here. He is a bit of background about him. He is another guy like us. He is,
Very true.
I believe Chinese.
I believe so too.
I think so. And he's actually one of the only Chinese guys who actually likes Chinese food that I know of, because apparently everyone I know here who's Chinese doesn't like Chinese food. Because I'm Korean, I love Korean food, I love Chinese food, but when we want to go for Chinese food, these Chinese guys don't want to go for Chinese food. But anyways, here's Dave Tam. But tell us a little bit about your experience with the interview process that you had at CMCC, and maybe some, maybe some tips for some people in the future who might be watching, and what were some of your fears, and how'd you feel, and all that stuff. Take it away.
So for me, the interview process was I just went through what was provided in the email that was sent out to all the applicants, and then afterwards I went through over the document. I spoke and chatted with a lot of chiros, and also kind of just got a feel of what their experience was like overall in general. And in terms of that, it's more like understanding why I want to become a chiropractor, like what would be my role in this, in the whole healthcare system and everything. So it's more so getting a feel that whether or not you like the chiropractic field, and if this would be a great fit for you.
That was just some sound. Just go on.
Excuse me.
Keep going.
So, one recommendation that I would have for people that are people that are inspired to become chiropractors is actually seek help from a chiropractor. See what they do, shadow, take a look at the profession, see if this is something for you. It is a long program. It's going to be 4 years in length. So, really, when you are in, you are committing yourself. for quite a bit.
I love commitment.
I love too. I love commitment as well.
We're looking into each other's eyes in a deep gaze. Since you guys don't have a visual,
Like starstruck.
kind of like the Titanic, and Leo and what's her name?
Rose?
Rose. Wait, what's the guy's name? Oh yeah, Jack.
Wait, you said actress.
What's the actor? Oh, who's the actor?
It's not Celine Dion, right? That's the
No,
singer.
no, that's Jack Black. Whatever.
Jack Black.
let's take a break. So when we come back, we're gonna try to get Nick Chow on the
Wait,
on
why
the
are we
mic,
taking a break?
so that Nick Chow can stop. Okay, we're taking a break. Okay, so we're back with the Crackstreet Boys pilot up.
gym.
Pilot. What? What did you say?
You watch
Oh,
the Hodge
back in.
Twins?
Oh, okay. I thought you swore. We don't cuss on this.
Shout
show.
outs to anyone that watches the Hodge Twins. Fuck in the gym. Anyways.
So this is the pilot episode again of the Crackstreet Boys podcast, and so we have Nick Chow finally. And first of all, he's gonna tell us the story about how he got taxed, and let's see if Nick.
Is this causing too much PTSD for you? Yo, it's okay, man. We're here.
Yo.
We'll hold your hand.
We just took a break just so that Nick can actually talk, and he's laughing again. Okay, let's
So it
talk.
was out of McDonald's?
Let's talk about. It was out of McDonald's, right?
Okay. All right. So this was about a couple of years ago.
Oh sh.
Dr. Gore?
Wait, Dr. Rohr. Oh wait, that's another email. Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Keep going.
So this was a couple of years ago. Well, quite a few years now. It was in grade 9, high school, and I was coming home from school. I went not to my home school, so it was a little farther because they had a special sports program, and I was doing competitive taekwondo at that time. So
But keep in mind, this is before. This is Nick's origin story. So he was just a junior back then. He was like it was like a white belt master, but
Wait, what?
No, I was
Go on.
still a black belt, but
Okay.
okay. So yeah, I was just coming home. I step inside a McDonald's one day to go to the washroom. When I come out, some guy, he just asked me,
do you want to get taxed real quick?
No, he asked me what time it was. So I pulled out my phone, and then next thing I know, two other guys come out from behind the corner, and they tried to take my phone from me. So nothing bad really happened. I just, like, they threw me to the ground, and I just had to, like, give them my phone.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. I guess you didn't get hurt, but you have to give them your phone now.
Yeah, I gave them my phone. It wasn't even a good phone, though. It was, like, some crappy flip phone. So I didn't care about that. Lights went out again. Okay, so the most important thing is really safety. Always just, like, keep safety in mind. You can give up all your things, but as long as you're safe and healthy, that's most important.
That's what my mom always tells me too. But you know,
Yo, Nick, if I'm walking down the street and you see those guys again, just let me know.
yo, we're gonna.
Call my Burnaby boys.
I'm gonna call my Burnaby boys, my Surrey boys.
suburban
I'm gonna
boys.
call my Brooklyn boys,
My Bowmanville boys.
I'm gonna call my Paris boys.
My Yukon Territory
I'm
boys.
gonna call my Moscow boys, the KGB.
Wait, I don't think we should. What if they hear this?
Ooh, oh. Shit. But anyways.
Okay.
All right, so back to my story about getting into CMCC.
Oh yeah. Let's
I don't know how that was related, but okay.
Yeah, that was a weird tangent.
okay.
Okay. So I actually knew Derek Liu.
What?
Yeah.
Were you-
We went to York together. I only knew him in our last year, I think.
I seen you around, but like, yeah, we
Yeah, we
did
had-
a group project,
Yeah.
sports psych. I love sports psych.
So, yeah.
Sorry for the headphone users.
All right. Where was I
Your
going
interview.
with this?
You knew Derek.
Okay, yeah. So I knew Derek. We were in the kin program together. I did BSc. Were you?
I did
BA.
BA.
Okay.
BA. Yo, anyone who thinks they're doing a BA in kin and they think they can't get in, think again. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyways, keep on going.
Okay. So yeah, I was in my last year, 4th year of kin, and I really still did not know what I wanted to go into. I had to do like a bit of reflecting, and Taekwondo was something really important to me, and although I stopped like 1st year of university, I still remember there was this one chiropractor who would go to like all the Taekwondo events, and I would always get treatment from him. He was, his name's Dr. Oh, can I
you
say?
can name drop?
Nah.
What? No, okay, no, you can say
I'll
it.
let you know later, guys.
Oh, okay.
All right. So,
People
where
probably
was I going?
already know who it is, but
yeah.
The judo master.
All right.
Go on.
Yeah, so he would always treat me. I had a couple like ankle problems, so I would just go into his office, and he's the one who like sort of inspired me to become a chiropractor. I saw like how much he was helping other people. I went to shadow him. Yeah.
It's kind of the prototypical like backstory of, you know, a lot of people are like, yeah, they have an injury or they have an issue. You go see the chiropractors, have some issues resolved, and then kind of see like, oh, I like this profession, I might want to go into it. That kind of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
who's the chiropractor?
Well, I don't. Let's.
Yo, I'm pretty sure we can name. Yo, we just said Dr. Roar, so like.
Oh yeah.
We can
Okay, well,
cut that
just,
out though.
yeah, we can just cut that out. Okay, I don't know what point we said it though, but I just got an email from him. Okay, it's just I have to look at it later. It's just about probably like when our next class.
Wait, you gotta give him a shout out, man.
Yeah.
What the heck? Yo, stop checking your email. We're doing a podcast here.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
what the heck?
We have,
Oh, I forgot about this.
oh no.
I have to do this with Jonathan.
Wait, is that me? Can we have 2 volunteers? I'm not going to email back because I don't want to be a volunteer. So let's just close this email and pretend it didn't come. So let's move on to our next topic.
Wait, I didn't go over my interview.
Oh shit. Oh, I mean,
Okay.
oh shoot.
Are we getting into why we got into chiropractic?
Oh yeah, we can go over. We'll let
I already sort of explained why I got into chiropractic. And
so what about the interview process?
yeah, so the interview, how I prepared was I had a couple friends in like different healthcare professions. I got someone in dentistry to help me out. So
Yo, multidisciplinary.
yeah. So most healthcare professions, to get into the school, it's usually the same process, like the interview. You got to use like the STAR-L method, and they have like, it's competency based. Yeah, you just got to do like a couple questions on the 6 competencies, which are, do you guys remember?
I guess we should actually like give like real tips to like people. So
I think-
Okay, if you've made it this far into the podcast, then you're in for a treat. We're gonna actually give you real tips. So
okay, I think it was like competency,
All right.
management, collaboration, scholar,
Okay, I got it here. It's communicator,
professionalism.
collaborator, manager, health advocate, scholar, and professional. So that's the 6.
Yeah.
yes,
And-
like the questions aren't like they're not gonna ask you like one for each necessarily, or maybe they are. I don't know, but it's more like they're trying to show them that as long as you can communicate your ideas or like your experiences in like a coherent manner, they're gonna. I mean, you're pretty much set. Like, there's like obviously a grade cutoff that you need to get past, but you know, as long as you dress nice and presentable, and you have like experiences that you can actually relate to, like it's not just pulling something out of the memory hat and saying, oh yeah, I remember I was part of this club and it was fun, and it's more like how you're explaining how an experience that you've had shaped you, or like in a way that you can answer the question, if that makes sense. It's not so much cut and dry where you just take an experience and just regurgitate it. There's a bit of thought process that you have to put behind it, but it's not too bad. Like maybe.
Well, I think they also do want to see like a variety of different experiences you've had. So
Yeah.
like, don't always just talk about how you were in school all the
Yeah.
time, school, or like school club. Do like extracurriculars. So like, I talked about Taekwondo. I talked about like vacations I've had.
Yeah,
different
they
things
want to
like
see that
this.
you're a real person. You're not a robot, or you're not some kind of like I don't know, one-dimensional person. That you want to see that you have experience, the real experience. It doesn't matter if it's not like super interesting, like, because it's unique to you. So you just don't worry about that.
Yeah, basically what I did was, were there 5 or 6?
There were 6
So 6. So what I did was basically I looked at each of the competencies, and then I reflected back as much as I can, and thought of an example of when and where like I demonstrated that quality that they were looking for. And another thing I found that was helpful, because I stumble over my words pretty easy if I don't like practice and recite and like think about stuff. So like before the interview, I would like write down or type out like my like quote unquote like answers to like the questions that were going to be asked, because you can kind of like predict what questions they're going to ask just basically based on the competencies.
Yeah, sort of, to a point,
so
yeah.
You should have a like maybe 2 or 3 about each competency,
Yeah.
like to fit in whichever's closest to the question.
Yeah, and it goes by really quick. It's 5 minutes for each.
Yeah,
Yes.
time goes by so fast, but it's also like kind of bad where if you run out of stuff to talk about in the first like 30 seconds.
Well,
So
I don't think I
don't
ever
have
ran out
to-
of time. I don't know if you guys.
for me, I was so nervous during the second question. I think that it was a 2-part question, and on the second I was done the first part after like a minute, and I remember there was still like, I don't know, however much time left to go, and instead of answering the second part of the question, which was like the bulk of it, I froze up and I pressed next on the screen, and then as soon as it happened, I'm like, okay, well, it's time for me to make my way to some other, I don't know, I'm gonna
CCNM.
Yo, no shade on CCNM. We love our brothers over there.
I love herbal tea.
Yeah, me too. But you know, and I was really nervous about that because I thought I ruined everything. I ruined my life basically. I basically skipped the question, and
Damn.
you know, in those darkest hours of twilight, I thought to myself like, you know, why did I do that to myself? Why did I do it? But
Yeah. Well, this is also
It worked out.
Yeah. This is also a way you could like show them how you are. Like if you mess up on an early question, later questions they'll see how you bounce back,
Yeah.
and that can help you as well.
yeah, there's also a written part too.
Right.
That part, I think it's tough because they give you a word limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 10 minutes. But I think the questions were pretty like or like pretty tough in that like. I remember one of mine. I don't remember the other one. I remember one of mine was like, "Where do you see the profession in 5 to 10 years?" And as someone
Can
who
we see specific questions?
hypothetically, but no, that's like a pretty typical question though. Like, where do you,
Okay.
or like, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Some stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I ran out of words like really quick. Like I wanted to basically tell my whole life story, but I didn't have enough words, so I had to like delete a lot.
Yeah,
So.
I deleted, like, I wrote a paragraph and I'm like, this doesn't sound right. So I deleted it all and I sort of ran out of time. But like,
But don't worry about it. Honestly, I think that the interviewers are pretty reasonable, and everyone's really. I think this year it was something like 750 or close to 800 people applied, and obviously the class of 2021 right now is like around 200 people. So
Yeah.
I'd say like just a bit over a quarter of the people got in. But I mean, I think that like you shouldn't look at things in terms of statistics, because I feel like for all of us here, we probably defied a lot of statistics to make it to the point where we're at.
Definitely.
A lot of self-doubt and stuff like that. Real talk. But if everyone is good with this, were we going to talk about like why we got into chiropractic?
Or we're gonna talk about like CMCC community, or that could be next episode.
Well, we can quickly go over like why we got into
Okay,
it.
yeah, it relates to this. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just finish it off. So for me, my legitimate reason why I got into chiropractic is because I was so backed up into the wall, I wasn't sure where to go. So I in life sci. Oh, what the heck?
Sorry, I was palpating your pectoralis minor. Nice and deep.
Okay. So in life sci, basically, like I was from like most of the people here are from kin, and
yeah.
I honestly, it doesn't matter what your background is, because they sort of build you up from the ground up, except for I guess stuff like anatomy. They throw you on the treadmill at going on 8 miles per hour, and like if you fall, it's like kind of sucky. But yeah, I came from life science, so like I did physiology and biology, so I did all the small stuff. Like I was looking at like, what plant protein like makes sure that the plant like does this or this, and physiological stuff. But I never looked at the macroscopic stuff. No, I never did anything like biomechanics, never did any anatomy, never did anything like that. So there a lot of stuff here was new, and especially the whole aspect of manual care and everything. All that was really new to me. And then at the start, I felt really kind of like I felt a bit discouraged, because I felt like I was starting so far back from everyone else's experiences who have already done stuff like basic anatomy and gone through things like biomechanics. And then I felt like, oh shoot, like what does my degree provide for me? Because in first year, there's a lot of, if you're coming from life science, there's a lot of stuff where like you've never done before. But honestly, it's not too bad, because we're going to talk more about the environment, maybe a next episode, maybe a bit later on this episode. But I think the CMCC environment is, because the community is so tight, or at least it's smaller, there's just a lot of like opportunities to succeed and like try to pick yourself up if something goes wrong. Because in undergrad, I feel like you're kind of like tossed into the fire and seeing what happens, just because there's so many people. But I digress. So why I got into chiropractic? So at the end of it, I feel like most people's goals in life sci, you want to go to med school, or you want to go to like dentistry or pharmacy or whatever, but you need like crazy high GPAs, and at U of T it was not a fun time. And I mean, I think I did pretty well at U of T, but it was not enough to do something like med, for instance, like right away, without like maybe taking an extra year just for that extra boost, or like doing grad school or whatever. But those are stuff like I in my third and fourth years, I figured out I didn't want to do grad school. I didn't want to do med. I didn't want to do dentistry. So I figured, I felt like in a way maybe doing life science in general was a mistake, because I was really interested in other things like business and even culinary arts. I was considering too. But I looking through what my options were. I did still feel like a passion for healthcare. It's just that I really didn't want to be working kind of like necessarily in kind of like how to explain it, like not necessarily a hospital, because there are chiros who work in hospitals. It's more like I didn't want to be like I didn't want to go to med school, basically. I didn't want to do the whole road down there. I didn't don't know, for my own reasons. But I considered things like physiotherapy and chiropractic, and honestly, I couldn't tell you exactly why I picked chiropractic, but I am really glad I did. I have another story later, not today maybe, but probably not today, about my experience. And it was with like chiropractic and physiotherapy, especially because I had a really bad accident when I was younger. That didn't contribute towards my direct wanting to be a chiropractor, but it cemented the idea that I wanted to do something in the healthcare field, and I think chiropractic's a great option for that. So Derek, take it away.
Wow, good job, Isaac. Don't think I can top that, but yeah.
What the
Okay,
heck?
so I guess origins. Let's see. So I was doing
Derek Liu Origins. Marvel.
Okay, let's go. I was doing a kinesiology program at York with Nick Chow. We're in the same year, so for me, I guess it all started back in like grade 12. I was running track, had a lot of injuries. Took the grade 12 exercise science class. Super interested in anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, that kind of stuff. So I decided to apply to kinesiology, got in, did kin. And originally, I was looking into physiotherapy. But not only was the GPA like stupid high and stupid competitive.
This isn't to say that CMCC, you don't, like, everyone here probably had a pretty good GPA.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
And everyone's like
Definitely.
really smart.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that like you need a low GPA. If you have like a bad GPA, you're not getting in, because there is a grade cutoff, and like it's getting higher every year.
Yeah, but that wasn't the only fact that played into why I didn't want to go into physiotherapy. So around second year, I herniated my L5-S1 disc with radiculopathy. So with MRI, which took me like 6 months to get, and I got it.
And Canadian healthcare system.
I got it at 3 a.m. in the morning at I don't want to say the hospital, but yeah, at a hospital. And it was right after when I came back from Cuba, so I landed and it was like 1 a.m.
Man.
Like 2 hours, we booked it to the hospital, got that MRI. Anyways, L5-S1 herniation, what's up? I went to look to get into treatment. There was on a campus clinic in the Toronto Track and Field Center. Got treatment there from the physiotherapist, and he didn't really help. I went on to look at other physiotherapists. Again, I really didn't like how he ran his clinic. Not going to say the clinic, but basically that physical therapist did the initial assessment, and then the kinesiologist there, who was doing her master's in kinesiology, all she did was basically machine modalities, and I never got to saw the actual physiotherapist after the initial assessment.
But you can't. Everyone has their different ways of practicing. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely not bashing any physical therapists. I definitely respect them, and I read a lot of their papers as well, listen to
love
podcasts, so definitely not bashing any of them. This is just my own experience. And after that, I went to see a massage therapist because I thought the physical therapist thought my problem was more muscular, deep tissue, that type of stuff. That massage therapist referred me to an athletic therapist. I'm like, yeah, how about no? So, no offense to athletic therapists, basically researching around, my only option I decided was chiropractic. I never tried chiropractic. I went to see a chiropractor, and but that wasn't for my back. That was after my back healed up. I actually started getting hip impingement, and I did powerlifting, by the way. So I started getting hip impingement, and I just really liked the way that chiropractor explained stuff, explained why he was doing it, what was happening, and basically his whole clinical thought process behind his treatment and assessment. I found that like super fascinating. So I went to research about chiropractic just to see what it's all about, shadowed as many as I could, asked questions. I thought this was like the perfect career path for me.
And now Derek Luke is a first-year chiropractic student. And just to note, because we're students, we're not going to talk about any sort of medical advice. We're not even going to probably give our opinion or anything like that.
I love giving illegal advice.
Yeah, I'm calling the CCO already.
Wait, I actually need to go to the washroom, so I'll be back.
Okay, so we'll take a break now. It's a good segue, and we'll be probably back with a little more content for you. Okay, we're back with the first episode of the Crackstreet Boys podcast. So our final topic of the day is kind of going to be a conclusion to, I guess, the origins of us. And in that, what was our biggest fears, I guess, before coming to CMCC? And we can go in a bit of a circle, maybe starting off with Nick Chow.
All right.
Ciao.
So, I guess my biggest fear was, I guess like most, that chiropractic wasn't for me. So I've always been sort of shy person. I don't usually do a lot of public speaking.
And now
This is
he's
my
on the
third podcast.
Now he's on the
Yeah.
the Crackstreet Boys.
Sorry for my
podcast.
laughter at the beginning of the podcast.
We had an episode.
Yeah. I'm going to have another one now. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, biggest fear. What was I saying?
Well, maybe it's not. Well, it wasn't right for you or something.
Something about
Oh,
public
yeah,
speaking or being shy or something.
So, I was always a shy person, like, from very young age. I didn't actually do, like, a lot of clubs or anything. I didn't go out that much. I mainly just stayed within my little bubble. Did taekwondo. I also
Studied the
did
blade.
hockey for a bit. That was more of a team sport, but like I didn't really.
And Nick was actually signed to the Detroit Red Wings
No,
for 2 years,
no, no,
2004,
no.
2005.
Compton.
All right. I feel like this is getting nowhere. So.
What were you afraid of?
Yeah, my fear was that chiropractic wasn't right for me, and like just healthcare in general. I wasn't sure like I would be able to talk to patients. I wasn't sure I was able to like. I didn't have that confidence in myself to like speak out. Yeah, but I just like over the years, especially in my fourth year, I had to practice more. I got out, talked to more people, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Now Nick Chow, you can see him strolling the hallways. He has like Christian Dior on, and like he has like a Gucci sweater.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
He's walking around with like a Louis Vuitton man purse.
I am not
He's
that
like, and
rich.
he pushes people around saying like, "Yo, get out of my way, you peasants."
Yeah.
And then he takes my lunch money, and like now he's an outgoing person. Okay, so a bit about like what I was afraid of is, so I was thinking about how like the older you get, in a way, like the saying that you can be whatever you want to be is, as long as you try, is a bit of a lie, right? So I thought like, when you're like 5, you could literally be whatever. Like the future is like whatever. And when you're 15, it's like, you can go to whatever university you want. Like you work hard in high school, and then you're an undergrad. It's like, oh shoot, you can major in whatever you want, and then, but once you're done that, it's like, there's some limitations to where you're gonna go, right? And I thought like, I felt like I'm pretty much pigeonholed into like doing either like research or like something in the healthcare field, and I thought like, what is this right for me? Is this like the life path I want to take? And there was like some fear, or maybe even some like not necessarily like regret, or like it's more like I was wondering like what would my life be like if I got into something else, like going into computer science or engineering or business or culinary arts or I don't know, WWE wrestling, which I do want to get done at the school, like Royal Rumble, cage match style, but I think that there'll be some obstacles to cross if any of the student representatives are watching. I'm an advocate for school-wide Royal Rumble. But that was sort of my fear, like kind of like it's a bit of a weird fear, I guess, but I think that you guys might know what I'm talking about. It's more of like just not really being sure if this is like the life path you want to take, since you only live once, YOLO. But other than that, it was like this is a huge financial commitment. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
You're done undergrad, and like undergrad for a lot of people are expensive. Like tuition at U of T was like $9-10 grand a year and rising. Not to mention like the stupid like downtown living costs. And then so you're done with that, and then suddenly it's like another 25 plus grand a year plus living costs plus transport and food and books and everything and all the costs that come with being a professional. So I wondered like should I have just become a plumber or electrician when I was 18, gone to trade school and like done something like that. So money was a bit of a fear too, but honestly, everything else I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to kind of moving on with my life, meeting new people, doing new things, seeing the world, traveling the 7 seas, all that. And that's a bit of a tangent, I guess, but I'm going to move on to Derek Liu, who's going to finish this episode off with his biggest fear. And he's already told me his deepest secrets about his biggest fear, and I know he's conquered them already, deep inside.
Okay, class. So, sorry, that was a bad impression.
Of nobody.
Right, of nobody. If you know who that is.
No, it's nobody. It's nobody. This podcast does not represent the views or stance of CMCC, and we are not affiliated with them in any way other than being students of them, and this is just... Don't get us in trouble. We haven't said anything, but just tell me your fears.
I love my epithelial cells. Anyway, so my biggest fear. Well, first off, when I was researching into chiropractic, I bought this book off Amazon. Sounds sketchy, but it's called like The Chiropractic Way or something, written by some U.S. chiro. And then he was like, before I knew it, he was talking about like subluxation-based models, which I didn't know that there was like a difference between like subluxation, evidence-based, that type of stuff, like more mechanical-based. I was reading and like I thought this was like really, really cool. Like you could influence the nervous system through adjusting the spine, through adjusting the nerves, influence digestive system, a lot of other things. And then I started getting into more research, and then there was an alumni York thing at school, and then one of the chiropractors was there, and then I just said like I thought how cool it was to be able to like treat the body that way, and then he said, oh, you have to be careful, I don't practice like that, neither does CMCC. So before I knew it, that there was like a division between subluxation based and more evidence based chiropractic, and which I was like, okay, I was fine with that as well, but I don't really know where I'm going with this in terms of my deepest fear. I didn't really have a fear going into CMCC, to be quite honest with you. I was more nervous than anything, of course. I guess if I could pinpoint something, it would be like making friends, I guess, because I thought everyone in professional school would be just, I don't know, they're just there to like, complete their education, become professionals. Just because like from high school to university, I lost some of my high school friends, and then university to here, I lost some of my university friends. So I don't know, just I thought that, some friendship was difficult to, what's the word I'm looking for? To grow. So yeah.
And
Do you mind
Yeah, go ahead.
okay,
No problem.
and that's actually a pretty good segue as the
But then I found my Crackstreet boys, aka there's too many people to name,
But for now, thanks for tuning into the first pilot episode of the Crackstreet Boys podcast.
Are we doing weekly?
Yeah, sure. I don't know, maybe.
We'll
sure.
see.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the reception is.
But if any of you class of 2022 prospective students looking to join in and want to ask any questions for us, you can just find us on Facebook.
Yeah, well, maybe we could even do like a live Skype call or something like that.
Yo, no one's got. Oh wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 It's positive.
Okay.
Anyways, thanks again for watching. It's been good. It's Nick Chow, Derek Liu, and Isaac here.
Yeah, they're not gonna know how to spell our names. Man. Your name is freaking messed up too. It's like not even normal Isaac.
What? No, it's the freaking biblical Isaac, man.
Yo, mine's not.
Yo, it's ISAAC is the normal spelling.
So dear God.
What?
Loaded in the fist, I swing, I don't miss shot. I missed out with 8 inches locked up in the zipper. 2 time and take it to the top. Tongue twister, lyrics is so hot, so when I spit my tongue blister. Catch me with your sister, head down, getting brains while I be cruising down on the vista. It's the way I spit, that straight piss ya off, so I keep talking like this. Yes, it's that.